Okay, folks, well, with the season finale a week from today, yes, next week on the 17th, we will have the Sistas Season 9 finale, episode 200, Karen's Going Away Cookout. Now, we got the synopsis already, and I already did a video about it, and that video blew up to over 10,000 hits in less than a day. Holy crap. So, this video is the season finale prediction. Honestly, this video should have waited until after tonight's episode, but whatever. So I just wanted to give about 4 or 5 different ideas about potential drama that could occur in the finale. Now, I mentioned this in the synopsis. I wouldn't mind just a drama-free episode. It's called The Hangover, and I know it's about the women waking up the next day. Some of them, being excited, others having regret and experiencing shock over the events of the night before. But I want to say that if I had to take a guess, stab in the dark about the potential drama that could go down, I'm thinking, number one, Mr. Keys is invited to the cookout. I don't see why he wouldn't be. I think he'll show up. And also, I think... Okay, so this is a 2-for-1 entry. I think Rich is going to be invited because, well, he and Zach are boys. And, well, this is, Zach and Fatima's home, their cookout, so they invite who they want to invite. And keep in mind, Sabrina low-key vouched for Rich to... When Sabrina went to Fatima for help, Fatima low-key vouched for Rich after, overhearing what he was saying about her at the juice bar when she and Zach went not too long ago. So I could see Rich and Sabrina engaging in a conversation, and maybe Mr. Keys is like the the wingman, if you will, basically encourages him to use the advice he gave him, and then we might see these two reconcile. I don't want them to do that, but all I can do is think about the number of times where Calvin and Sabrina would go through some BS for the entire season, have a falling out, and then in the finale, all of a sudden they're right back to being, I use the term together with air quotation marks. So aside from the Sabrina Rich stuff, also side note, I don't know if she would, but what if Sabrina invited Rock? Man. I want to be honest here. I'm surprised Rock and Zach haven't shared a scene together. You would think they'd get along fine considering they're both jailbirds. They both know Danny. Yeah, I'm surprised Rock and Zach haven't shared screen time. I feel like we're robbed. So, and then if, Rock shows up, then Rich will be pissy about it. I don't know. All right, and then going back to Mr. Keys, could he reveal to Zach in this episode that he's actually his father? I could see that, but to be honest here, I'm actually glad if he does do it, but Fatima's around, because Zach would need emotional support in a moment like that. I know some people are like, see, that's what Zach gets for meeting up with Mr. Keys without Fatima, the other episode where he found out about his dad leaving town and stuff like that. Well, I'm like, nah, this is good stuff. Let him establish a bond with Mr. Keys, and then when he felt the time is right, he'll reveal who he really is. And I could definitely see that being the drama, where the cookout is over, it's winding down, and then Keys is about to leave. Once the crowd kind of disperses, that's when he reveals the truth, and then that will leave Zach dumbfounded. And then maybe as we go into season 10, which I'm still thinking where there's going to be a time jump, these two are actually on good terms. So that's what I think could be happening with Keys and Rich. We know Officer Green is going to be at the gay bar in tonight's episode. It seems like Danny called him up and he was like, you know what? I must really like you if I'm coming out late at night to a gay bar just to spend time with you. I'm wondering how Andy's going to react to this, considering he has been flirting with her as well and saying things like, let's keep this between us and this, that, and the third. So I don't know how she's going to act or feel about it, but I don't know. Because like I said, this is the finale, but I highly doubt. I'm thinking like the first 10 to 15 minutes of the finale will be the aftermath of the night before. You know, where most of everybody waking up drunk and regretting their decisions. So I don't know if Green would be invited to the. Well, no, he's a cop, so I don't think Zach and Fatima would be so keen to have him over at the house. So yeah, you know what? Green could be a point of contention between Danny and Andy, but I think that might be something that goes down in tonight's episode rather than the finale. But I still wanted to include him anyway. Next up, Dr. Cruz. Now, I'm not saying he's going to pop up over at Zach and Fatima's house, but I believe there was that behind-the-scenes photo where we see Cruz with that black woman and 2 mixed children, which could be his. And it's like, when is that scene going to happen? I mean, unless it happens in tonight's episode when Zach, Rich, and Keys are still at the bar they're sitting at, because they're clearly not at Billy Jake's, so maybe that goes down tonight. Or maybe Andy gets a phone call from the law firm about the case or something like that. It's just one of those things where Cruz, it just didn't seem like him being dragged away was the end of him from the law firm at the end of episode 19, especially with Vaughn telling Andy, you're making a mistake. So there could be some follow-up with that. And then finally, I don't want this to be the case, but I'm just going to throw it in here anyway. Gary could make a surprise appearance. I just feel like maybe he, says his final farewell and then dips. And I want to put an asterisk by his name to include Penelope. I doubt that's going to be the case because sadly, I think Penelope's swan song is going to be in tonight's episode when her and her girl get their butts kicked in the bathroom. So that's pretty much it. In terms of a, quick brainstorming session about what I think could go down in the season finale next week. I might do like a follow-up video to this after tonight's episode and the trailer for next week drops. Hopefully tonight, because BET, please drop that trailer immediately after the episode like you've been doing for the past couple of weeks. Makes my job a lot easier and it will, build hype for the finale. So with that being said, make sure you take a moment to like and subscribe and I'll catch you in the next video.